As I mentioned, we've got Ridwaan Moolla, who's the CEO at Think Markets, who joins us to unpack those numbers. You would have heard in my intro, Ridwaan, the markets really not looking like they have been over the past 2 days, in line with the global activity, which was in the red today. Give us your sense of what were some of the major contributors to the JSE ending off the day as it did.
So financials mostly were the ones that were really down. We had Old Mutual, Nedbank, they were down just over 2.6%. I mean, the financial index itself was down just over 1.4%. But what led the way was your Mr. Price down 4.6%. And even though we had some good news, yet again with Naspers and Crosses up 1.74 and 3.28% respectively, it just wasn't enough to bring the market up into the green. I think we also need to understand that when we look back on Monday, Monday was really and truly a very nice big green day because of the jump in Naspers and Crosses with the announcements that came out about 10 cents. So it was a bit of a heavy, movement on Monday, but you got to understand that it was also because of that. And then today, obviously, like you just reported, the consumer confidence levels. This is reaching record levels. And if we look at it, like you were just saying shortly, this is at negative 25 points. Household incomes above 20K, negative 30 points. So really and truly seeing a very big impact everywhere across the market.
No, absolutely. Let's get into that Naspers process announcement that was made. We never really got to unpack it just because of the news cycle that was, Ridwaan. But that announcement of them getting rid of their 10 cents as shares over a period of time, maybe explain that to us and why the market liked this announcement. I mean, one would have thought that at some stage 10 cent was the star investment of Naspers.
So the one thing that we've seen with 10 cents, especially from last year, is the Chinese control over these type of companies. So, for example, 10 cents, they sell games, and the Chinese government actually stopped them from selling quite a few of these games. So the share price has been very, very volatile. There's no real clear direction as to what the government is going to be doing in China. So there's a lot of negativity around 10 cents. So now with Naspers no longer being so dependent on Naspers, and they've also broadened their entire income and revenue stream, what that has done is the market has basically said, well, we actually like this a lot more. It now gives us as shareholders much better value as well. So we're not totally dependent on 10 cents. The other companies also now have more value to offer, and they're growing a lot better. So from a shareholder perspective, I'm seeing some nice diversification there. And that also helps me to appreciate it more. And therefore, you're seeing a lot more people coming into it. But also the fact that, well, in order for them to sell down their stake in 10 cents, it does mean that they're going to be buying back shares as well.
Yeah.
So that also ups the price a bit as well.
No, absolutely. Let's continue with company news. Capitec announcing the retirement of their chief financial officer and their financial director, Mr. Duprius, and there's going to be a takeover there. But I don't know why the share price was down about 2% after that SENS was put out. I mean, what do you make of the reaction that we got following that announcement?
So I think the reaction was more in line with the consumer index, more than anything to do with the announcement. Grant Hardy is taking over. The announcement actually came out at the beginning of this year. He's been in line to take over this position for quite some time. One thing Capitec have always said is that they promote internally and they groom their internal staff. So there's a nice handover. It's a smooth handover. It isn't anything rough. He's taking over from 1st of July, but the market itself knew about this already around about January when Andre actually announced his retirement. So I don't think it was really to do with that. But if you look at it at the end of the day, I mean, Capitec was down 1.43%. But if you look at it in comparison to its peers, I mean, Nedbank and the likes, those are down over 2%. So it actually didn't do that bad. And I don't think, personally, the announcement actually had anything to do with the share price going down. I really do think it was just overall market right now. Obviously, the consumer index really played a really, really important part today. So I think that was the main reason for it. I do also think that Grant Hardy is pretty much, he has been in this role for quite some time. working with Andre. So I don't think there'll be any real trouble in the handover or anything else. And Capitec is still looking like a very, very good company.
And then let's talk about the Rand, which is not looking like a very, very good company at the moment. Ridwaan, I mean, from the moment stage 6 was announced yesterday, it fell quite significantly and continues to do so today. That would explain why some of the financial stocks are not doing too well. I mean, your view on the local unit, and I don't know, is there any hope for the Rand given everything that it's surrounded by?
If you look at it exactly right now and not even look another few days and what is happening in our economy today, there is no hope. You're just waiting for it to go further down. But we do see some light at the end of the tunnel. We've got the ESCOM workers coming back. Hopefully, we're going to see in a few days or potentially even a week's time, moving away from stage 6, load shedding and the likes. And also, we're starting to see that it's more the USD strengthening than so much the ZAR just losing its value. But I think we're going to see a bit more stability once things start changing, especially from a load shedding point of view. Load shedding, I mean, we have discussions, as you know, we're a global company, so we're having discussions with people around the world. And the first thing they will ask us is, please explain what load shedding is. And when you tell them what it is, it's a huge impact, like it's a shock. And it does, and that pretty much says, wait a minute, should I be coming in to invest in the country? Should I be putting in more investment in the country when I don't know if I'm going to have the power to actually maybe build something or building infrastructure, or my staff aren't going to have access continuously to the internet or whatever the case may be. So it does play a big part. Investors are obviously, like we know, investors' confidence is low at the moment. So it has impacted that Rand. But I do see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think we're going to be hitting 18 or 20 Rand to the dollar anytime soon. But it is going to be volatile over the next few weeks. I can tell you that much.
Ridwaan Moolla, thank you very much for your time this evening, giving us an update of all the business and news that happened today. It's nice to see that he is as optimistic as you are, Sally.
I think he said light at the end of the tunnel 15 times. I'm like, speak it, it will come into being.